Okay, we've got a knight. Oh, a Budapest defense. Budapest Gambit. Now, what do you play here? If you bring the knight up, he can pin it, but he did move the bishop. So that's probably okay. Okay, so kicking the knight right away is one way to play this, before the knight can jump forward here. Leaves this e-pawn weak, and after you castle, it's pinned, but those are the breaks, you know. Can't have everything. Thank you for the follow, Omayao. And this pawn does inhibit the forward progress of that. I think maybe I'll castle queenside. I could move the bishop here. I could put the queen up here, and then I could castle over here this way. Not to there, but to here. Yeah, see, he's setting up an attack on this pawn. If the knight goes here, I could drop back. No, I can't drop back. I don't have to go over. If the knight goes here and I drop back, I'm pinning that pawn again. I'm trying to avoid pinning it. Although he wouldn't really be able to take here with his queen, but he could take there with the knight maybe. Maybe it's nothing to worry about. Queen is also looking at this square. Yeah, let's get castled. Let's see. You know, I have knight here. Knight there hits the queen. That unpins the pawn. I was also pinning it with the rook. So I need to keep it unpinned. So yeah, knight here hits the queen and hits the square, which is would be a fork of the rooks now that he's moved his rook. So I'm looking at this as a good move. He would probably move his queen back to defend this pawn. Or maybe he could move his queen over here somewhere. But it looks interesting anyway. And I'll just launch a pawn storm against his king, I think. After I get my knight to a good spot. So if I play h4 now, we can just take it. So let's try and set this up a little better. Now I can play h4. Okay, kicks my knight. Okay. Let's see what else he can do. So I can play h4, h5, and that knight will be out of there. Then I can push this pawn forward. Maybe bring the other rook over. Bishop takes, rook takes, queen takes. Looks like this is well enough defended. Okay, well, at least this guy is thinking about his moves. You know, I'm the one who's been playing fast in this game, and he's been taking his time. But he'll probably start moving fast towards the end if he's an experienced blitz player. But it seems to me I always had a plan. Mostly revolving around keeping that pawn from becoming a victim. A victim pawn. Yeah, it looks like he wanted to start pushing pawns on this side too. So if I push all the way, he can just move this forward. Yeah, I think I need to push the G pawn forward. Let's see, and I have the knight here hitting his bishop if I want. If he moves this pawn forward, it would be loose. Right now, it would just be a trade. Okay, now G6. He takes, I take, he takes. Okay, so this is going to have to put a pawn here. This is defended, but he can kick my knight away. So let's... maybe that's not good. I can push this pawn anyway. I can take it, and then his rook can come in. Yeah. Well, I think I need to do this, so I'll just step up with my king if the rook comes in. Putting a rook on the A file. Not sure what that does. Oh, he's going to take. Going to give up his queen for 2 rooks. Oh, no, he retreats. Okay. So if I push, he takes, I take, he takes, I take. I'm like one short. It's a problem. I want to be able to hit his queen with my bishop. Yeah, I was trying to keep control of the A file, so I don't mind that he exchanged here. I went there with a check. Oh, and it hits my queen. That's annoying. Looking at this one. If I hit the queen, he's going to take my bishop. Okay, okay. Yeah, so now he can trade out and win this pawn, it looks like. He doesn't want to win the pawn. Maybe there's a problem with him getting mated on the back rank there. Okay, we take first. Take again, because this is pinned. Let's see, we can take with check. Okay, and he resigned. Well, I got a game. There you go. Oh. Yeah, he was in trouble there. Let's go to the analysis board. Isn't that funny? I lose to a 1600 and beat an 1800. But that's the way it goes. Shouldn't take with the bishop. Oh, was there a trick there? Oh, yeah, so he had a win. It was all about even up to here. Advantage of +1 for white here, because I made one good move. Let's see, let's go back a little bit. Right here, I had an advantage through the whole game up to this point. And it's because the Budapest Gambit is not such a great defense. He says I should take. See, I didn't want to give up the A file, but it's saying I should take. And then what? And then I should play F5. Just keep pushing. So it says he can't hurt me on the A file. You know, I didn't want to give up the A file because I thought he could get his queen over here and do some damage. Okay, but in the actual game, I moved away. So now it's about even, and or slightly better for black. And it stays that way until here. This was actually a little bit of a mistake, and I should have... it's an opportunity for me to move my knight and chase his queen some more, and I didn't do that. So I moved my queen, and then he played down here. And so this is actually winning for black. So I had a couple blunders in a row here. I should have moved my knight, and then... maybe it's just one blunder. Just it changes the evaluation after this. Because this square is as good as any for the bishop. So anyway, black is winning here. But instead of... I was expecting him to take the pawn. Take this. Yeah, that's fine. And then take the pawn. Take. It's not check now, so it's all... He just won a pawn. Okay, but the computer says something different. It says taking is not the right answer. The answer is here. Piling up pressure on this pawn. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. And then I bring my queen over to chase his king away. Okay, well, we're getting kind of deep there. So in the game, he took, which was pretty natural. Yeah, I just was expecting him to grab the pawn. When he goes here, it's actually slightly worse for him. And then I'm winning from here. And then that was a mistake because this pawn is pinned. And then shouldn't take with the bishop. Pawn forward, take with pawn. Oh, yeah, yeah. Pawn forward. I see what you're saying. Well spotted. But let's see. I was gonna play this. And then just win this endgame too, because I think this is winning. I could even give up the exchange here, and I've got 3 pawns against 1. That's probably winning. Yeah, the computer even says take that. Take it. And then have the king decide which pawn he's going to go after. He goes after this one. You can push this one. Goes back to the middle. You can push this. He goes here. You can go this. He takes this pawn, and you get a queen. So yeah, you can't stop this widely separated pawns like that. Okay, well that was a good game. Not too horrible. So I was 85% accuracy, and my opponent was 79% accuracy. Interesting. Works, but not optimal. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Maybe that's to be expected. I will lose those sometime. Back to e4. Well, I was playing an unusual opening. That I'm not so familiar with the Reti opening. Here we've got the traditional... Oh, no, that was a Ruy Lopez. I just blundered in the Ruy Lopez. I did okay in the Reti. So he's playing the Philidor defense. Oh, the Philidor counter gambit. Let's see. What's the right move here? This is very weakening for black. But I forget the right move. We can look at this one after the game in case you ever get caught that way. Yeah, I used to play the Philidor counter gambit until I ended up getting slaughtered. And I investigated it with the computer, and it's just really bad. There's just nothing good to be said about it. So let's see, if I bring my queen here, he might block with the bishop. But then I could give him a check with the pawn. Well, I could give him a check with the pawn anyway. So the king is out there. Let's see. So I could take this pawn back. I could go here and fork his queen and rook. Let's see. If I move my queen here, I'm threatening mate. Let's see if he notices. Yeah, threaten mate right away. Why bother taking the rook first? Oh, do it directly. I could have gone there directly. You're right. Thank you, Catman. Yeah, I had to make the previous move. If we go to the analysis board. Yeah. I mean, I played here and then here because I saw this battery. But of course, we can just go directly here, and that's a mate. Yeah, the Philidor counter gambit is just a horrible opening. Let's see. So these are the standard moves of the Philidor defense, and that's the Philidor counter gambit. It jumps to +3. I took here. Now it's only +1, so this was not the best response. The best response was to keep developing. Ah, yeah, now that's familiar. And that's +3. If you take, then it's only +1. He takes back. Knight g5 is okay. It's now, yeah, +1 still. And then he should play here and get a big center. That's one of the ideas with the Philidor counter gambit, is to get a big center. And then you can push the pawn or you can check, but then he can play this one. So that's better than what happened in the game. In the game, he kicked my knight with this one, and that's just losing. Yeah, that's +18. So this is all over. Here is the best move. King here. Here is the best move. King here. Here is the best move. And then let's see where he moved the queen, right? And then here for mate is the best move. That's pretty straightforward. Anyway, yeah, you got to watch out when you play these tricky openings like the Philidor counter gambit. There are still books for sale, maybe not anymore. There are still books in circulation. So if you find an old book at a used bookstore about how wonderful the Philidor counter gambit is, just know that it's been totally busted. It's the book has got mistakes in it. And so lines they're recommending don't actually work. Although the people you're playing may not know that, but I still don't recommend playing tricky openings like that. Okay, let's get somebody new. Okay, how about the French? I did E5, I did C5. We will do the French. Okay, a French advanced variation. That's interesting. I don't think they normally play that right away like that. The queen still, even if I don't win this pawn, it still puts some pressure here on the queen side. So here I can take, he takes, yeah, I don't win because there's the bishop moves with check. So you got to defend the knight. Now you're actually threatening to take that pawn. So he took. Okay, that's interesting. They don't usually take. They usually turn into a gambit. What can I do? Let's see. If I move the knight here, he'll trap my bishop, right? By playing here. Let's drop the queen back. Makes it harder to trap the bishop and puts pressure on this pawn. See if he wants to defend it. Yeah, so now I can bring the knight out because I can drop the bishop back here. Where should I put this knight? I think I'll put it towards the center here. This pawn will be hanging if the knight moves, so it's got to be a little careful still. I'm going to castle and develop my knight out here, hitting his bishop. This bishop here pins that pawn. Try a caro. You know, I should probably learn to play the caro. I never have. I never have played the caro. But I can play the Alechin's defense and the center counter. So I have a couple more openings to go through before I run out. So he brought his rook up and over to defend this pawn here. Now I'm going to play here. And if he takes, I can take with the rook. Yeah, I think that still is okay. I'm freeing up the f7 square for this knight. Also, I can push this pawn here if he doesn't take it and trap that bishop. I guess it's defended in this location. He's going to go back. He takes the knight. Okay. He was afraid I would take this pawn. And I very well might do that. It's not a threat. I was thinking I could threaten this fun. Okay, let's bring the knight up here. I can still bring the knight here and harass his bishop. You know, I could sacrifice the bishop here, which would allow me to play the knight here, which would fork these two pieces. So it'd be, I would end up getting the rook for bishop and a knight and getting a rook and a pawn. Not quite good enough, but interesting. Could put the knight here. Anyway, let's develop my rook first. We can let things settle. You know what he can do? He can play his knight here and win the exchange. Needed to move more expeditiously. Next move, I can put the bishop here and free up this diagonal so the rook can go back here if he attacks it with the knight. But at the moment, I can't really do anything. Anyway, this is kind of a typically complicated and messy French position. There we go. Let's threaten that. Threaten that bishop. Now I've saved my rook. 1-2. It's interesting. So I can play that. Can't say if it's good, but I can play it. Okay, so now if he wants to take my bishop with his knight, that's fine. Let's bring the queen up there. My biggest problem is this light squared bishop. Yep, there he goes. Ah, so this is losing. This is, I'm losing a pawn here, I mean. So first, let's get rid of the knight. And then I can go here and attack this pawn. And this pawn. So I think I can get a pawn back, and this will help free up my light squared bishop. It's not quite free yet, but one of these days I hope it will be free. And I can advance my pawns on the king side. He's running low on time here. Oh, just in time. Okay, so he defended that pawn, allowing me to take this one. He can also take my pawn, but then I'll take this one. Yeah, he just was out of time. We could go to the analysis board and ask it. Rook was free. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he blundered, didn't he? This rook. This rook was free. Yeah. Yeah, I was too focused on the pawns. Let's go to that analysis board. Okay. So in this position, white is ahead and should defend this pawn. Yeah, I was kind of on thin ice this whole game. Then he went here, that's, excuse me, he went here, that's losing because of queen takes rook. I played queen takes pawn, and now white is winning again, actually, but he lost on time. Why is white winning? Rook e to c1, followed by queen takes g6. Okay, yeah, first he defends this pawn, and then I can't really defend this one, and so later he can take this, and my bad bishop is a problem piece, and I haven't gotten rid of the I haven't got rid of these pawns that were forcing it to, that were keeping it confined. So I didn't play that well. I let him trap my bishop basically. Okay, next game.